Hello and welcome back to the Alteryx Weekly Challenge with me, Nick Bignell. This is challenge number 47, and this one is slightly different in that looks like we have to go and get some data from elsewhere. An Alteryx subscriber needs to build a process to validate VIN numbers, VIN numbers, to test for data quality issues across the fleet data. Let's make this a bit bigger. The algorithm is provided at the below wiki link. Okay. So please take the VIN numbers from the input and create a new column to check digit. Compare the check digit with the calculated check digit value. If the two values do not match, there was no error in the calculation, then there was a mistake in the VIN. Out of the 6 VINs, how many vehicles have invalid codes? Hint, you will need to build 1 to 2 lookup tables based on the wiki page. Okay, so if we look in the input data, we've got 6 rows with various numbers, okay, and digits and characters in them. Okay, some of them make sense. And then on this side we've got 2 additional columns, check digit and calculation. Okay, so let's have a look at the wiki site. Okay, so I've had a good look at the Wikipedia page, which actually caused my machine to crash a couple of times. Something obviously wrong with it, or maybe something wrong with my machine. But basically, it's a bit complicated, this algorithm that you have to work out. I've copied in 2 text files from the Wikipedia page. So one is this one, which converts letters to numbers. So these letters that we have here, we need to convert to numbers. And then this one is the weighting that we apply. So we can then basically what you then do is you work out a calculation of 1 times the other in terms of this weighting, depending on what position they are in the bin. That gives you a number. You then sum all those numbers, and that gives you the overall number. You then apply a formula to it. We need to apply this breakout. So if we just maybe if we just remove the NAs for starters, because they're just going to confuse things, and we can just where field 1 equals or does not equal NA. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, so that's given us, still has NAs in there, and NA in there. It's got trailing spaces. Okay, brilliant. Let's do some cleanup then. Okay, yep, that's got rid of it. So that's good. Then what we do is we just split it by the colon, so that we can then have a lookup table. So if we use a colon, we need 2. We split into columns. Okay, and then we apply the cleanser again. Okay, then it gives us a number for each letter. Yep, so that's good. Okay, so we can now join up. Now what do we do with this? So we've got all these letters and numbers here. Now is there one, so is it find and replace that we want to use? So if we bring this in, any part of the field, so if we do that, we take the VIN number and we replace it with the find value in 1. Okay, and then we want to append the fields. Do we want to append fields to records or replace phone text with value in 1? Replace multiple found items any part of any field. Yep, so we want to do that. So let's get rid of that join. We'll run that and see what we get. Okay, that doesn't seem to have done anything. Oh, I've got that the wrong way around, haven't I? So find the value in 1 and replace it with 2. Get it the right way around. Yep, now we have numbers. So we can now apply, how do we then apply this weighting? So that means that we need to, do we need to just break this out by the constituent parts? Let's give it a record ID. Yep, let's run that through. Okay, so now we've got a record ID on the 6, and then we can break these out. So if we do regex, I believe this is how you do it. Now you want to split by every character, which is /W, I think. So look up on here. White space character is /S. Word character /W. Non-word capital W. I don't think it matters then. And then you want to not replace, but we want to tokenize it, and the number of rows is, let's just pick a load and run that. Okay, so that breaks it out. So we now have Vin 1, Vin 2, Vin, so all at 17 split out. So now we can then just move that the other way. So key record are those two, and the data columns are the others. So let's run that. Okay, so that now gives us one for each of them. I think we can just remove one of these. We're going to need 17 columns. Yep, that gives rid of those nulls. And now we can join based on this, on the position. So if we get rid of the Vin, we've got the 17 position, we can then join on this position. So let's do that. So formula, where's the formula? There's formula. And we'll just name, and what we'll do is replace character, and it's in the name, and the character we want to replace is Vin, and we want to replace it with nothing. Okay, so let's run that, see what we get. Okay, so now we have the name. So the value is the number that's in the model, so we want to call that that is actually this one here. So that's the first lookup, and then the next one is, so if we bring in the join tool, we can then bring in this other data, and we want to marry on name and field 1. Okay, so that will then give us the weighting. So we got the value times the weighting, give us the product, and then we can sum them up by record ID. If that right? Yeah. So we can then sum that by record ID. Okay, so let's just bring it, let's do that. So 1 times the other. So we'll call this new value, and we'll just use the same field again, and we will, it's just, no, that's not what we wanted value, so we want value times field 2, We need to change all this to numbers now. So let's just do that with a select. And value should be at number 2. Okay, so let's do that. And now the value is this one. We can then group by the record ID, group by, and then we can sum that value. Okay, so now we have the values. Yep, so there you go. Now what we need to do is, I've got to remember exactly which one it is. Hang on, let me go back to the website, the wiki page, and see what I now have to do. I have to divide it by number and then work out what the remainder out of 11 is. Hold on one second. Okay, well that caused my laptop to crash, so I had to recover it and bring it back. Okay, so let's just run this and see where we're at. Okay, so we've got this value here. Now what you need to do is apparently divide this by 11. So if we take some value and divide by, we'll take some value and divide by 11. Okay, then you get this like 30.045. So let's do that. Now what we're interested in is the number that's after the dot, and it should be between 1 and 10. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, so then the calculator, these are supposed to therefore then match once you've worked that out. Okay, so in here we then just strip. They're all. We can just do. We can do text to. It's not gonna like it, is it? We just do on the dot. Do 2 and then see what it does. Does it just null it? No, it does do it. Okay, so this is a 0. That's fine. And then we can add the dot in. So let's add the dot in and then times it by. So if we take that value that we've just created and we do, well, we want it as a string, don't we? To start with, do we want it as a string so we can then convert it, add this in. Let's just convert it to a string. Okay, and then in here we can do 0.1 plus the value in there. Okay, let's run that, see what we get. Okay, so we now have these values here, which are the remainders, and we can simply, we might have to insert another select just to convert that back to a double, and then move along, and then so if we do take that same value again and times 11, didn't get anything, but I'm wondering the first one should be like 5. It doesn't look anything like this one over here, the calculation, because it should be. Where's 17 gone? We're missing 17. Why are we missing 17? 17 is here. 17. Oh, I got a Q. Okay, that is interesting. There's no 17 on this side. There is 17. Weighting of 2. There are trailing spaces in there. That would do it. So let's clean that up. Run that now. Okay, so we have none on the right and on the left. Now we have a weighting of 10, different weighting, but it's not the same still. These are in a different order. That's not helpful. Okay, so we've got 2 10s, we've got an X. So 10 is X. Well, let's just bring the... So if we then join this back together with this data here. So record ID, both sides, bring that back. Okay, so we now have the original VIN and the record ID. And if we... Let's just... We also wanted the... We also want to work out what the 9th character is, so let's do that. So this is the cred check digit. Let's do that. Add column check digit. Okay, so this is the 9th character. So if we take trim, removes. So if we just go the string. And find string target left. We could do what's the best way of doing this? Right. Let's just do right, and we'll take that VIN number, and we'll do 8, which will remove. So I'll start with the 8 right. Put it on the input, I'll set it up. So on the first one, why is it chosen? Oh, it's right. We didn't want right. So we do want right, but okay. So it just takes the right. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So actually what we want. 11, that gives us the first one, which is 9. Okay, and then we can do another one here, which is on the same. And we just take the left. Left, and then on that particular check digit, and then we want the first digit. Okay, so what does that give us? So that gives us this number here. Got H's and all sorts in there, which we don't have here. How is that possible? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We wanted I. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it was 9 we wanted here, not 11. Okay, let's run that. That looks, is that better? That looks better. And then let's just, actually we'll just sort this so we can see what we're doing by that VIN sending. Now we, 194xi6, 194xi6. Okay, they were there. So this bit is the bit that's not. This bit is the bit that's. So in here we've got 1. Okay, finally worked it out. It took me a bit of faffing around, but I got there in the end. So basically what we need to do is use this floor function, which I hadn't actually heard of before, but basically allows you to round down to 1 or less if you just try floor. So if we take that floor, that then allows that gives us the the rounded down number for each of these. We then take 1 from the other, and then we basically times that by 11. And then what that gives us is we times that by 11, it gives this number here, you'll notice I've called it Bob. We can then bring that into the calculation. We've then got it's actually the sum value here. This is the number that we're now looking at. If we join that with the original VIN number, we then cut it to just produce the actual 9th digit, and then we then do a calculation to create, because in the Wikipedia page it says that if it's 10 it should be X, and then just lose the fields we don't need, and then that gives us this calculation. So we've got this set up, and if I click on here, it's exactly the same on that setup on the other side. So it took a bit of faffing to get there, and I learned something about this floor value, which is useful. So thanks very much for watching. See you again next time.